Here in this room, the sacred space is created to allow the opening of the heart. Everyone is welcome, no matter where you are on their journey. Today, we celebrate our oneness in thought, in word, and in action. Good morning. I am Patricia Minkel, one of the practitioners here, and I get to be your spiritual host for today. We've been taking the readings from the Science of Mind, and today's reading is on page 183, and it's for causes and conditions. We all know we see the effect, but we don't always know the cause. So, when a practitioner is doing a spiritual mind treatment for someone, most people don't realize that they're actually doing it for themselves. And what they do is to clear themselves of any kind of negativity or any thinking that is unlike spirit. So they build in mind the concept of our spiritual birthright, which is to be happy and whole and complete. The practitioner knows for themselves the truth, and they also know it for their client. Well, I was going through some papers of mine. You know, it's a new year, gotta clean up. And I found this reading, and I thought it would be appropriate for today. It's by James Allen, and it's As a Man Thinketh. A man's mind may be likened to a garden, which may be intelligently cultivated or allowed to run wild. But whether cultivated or neglected, it must and will bring forth. If no useful seeds are put into it, then an abundance of useless weed seeds will fall there, and will continue to produce that kind. Just as a gardener cultivates his plot, keeping it free from weeds, and growing the flowers and fruits which he requires, so many men tend the garden of his mind, weeding out all the wrong, useless, and impure thoughts, and cultivating toward perfection the flowers and fruits of right, useful, and pure thoughts. By pursuing this process, a man sooner or later discovers that he is the master gardener of his soul, the director of his life. He also reveals within himself the laws of thought, and understands with every increasing accuracy how the thought forces and mind elements operate in the shaping of his character, circumstances, and destiny. So what we think is what we get. And that's basically Ernest Holmes' whole philosophy, is change your thinking, change your thoughts. So we're not always mindful of what we're thinking. Today, Reverend Doug and I met, and I said something to him, and he just looked at me, because it wasn't like me in the most spiritual way of the thing I said. And boy, he called me on it in 2 seconds. So, he said, there's no room for sarcasm in Science of Mind. Well, spirit doesn't understand. Thanks, Doug. So we really have to be careful of what we say. Even if we're saying it in a jest or whatever, if we're focusing on it and giving it energy, then you're going to see it show up. So, now I'd like to take you into the silence and some prayer. Just knowing that our thoughts are things, and that they produce exactly what they are. And everything we give energy to becomes reality. So we just allow ourselves to open up and give that energy of love and peace and joy and harmony and happiness. Just allow it to flow. And do a little take on what you're saying. Listen for any thoughts that may end up being weeds. And so I know that as each one of us here changes their thinking, they change their life. And if we could just contemplate that for a minute. Knowing that this service is blessed, that Spirit is in the house, always, within each one of us. And we know that Dr. Maxine is that vessel for us today to give that beautiful talk, that teaching, that we're all here. And each one of us will get something different from that. We just allow it to flow to us. And I know that Dr. Minkel and Reverend Doug, all the practitioners, and every volunteer who works here to make this service possible, and each person in the audience. Because it takes all of us to have this service be successful. And I just spread that beautiful energy throughout this room and know that Joel and his music allow it to flow. And I am so grateful to speak my word for this service into the law, because the law works each and every time. And I am grateful. I let go, let God, and together we say, and so